Was the psychedelic experience of birth like for you?
Did I see it was playing out everywhere? I mean, prior to Kylie giving birth to Jasper, I mean, I think everyone listening, and I know you know, we were in a world that it was like you're being asked to not see, you're being asked to deny the evidence that your eyes see and that your ears hear. And so you're having to be with reality, with capital T truth, that is actually destabilizing your sense of psychological and somatic safety in insert whatever country you live in. And that was my experience of the public health issues in the last 3-4 years. So here I was being vocal about that, having a business that as soon as I started to get vocal, you know, I think coming back to our relationship to things like social media, if you look at it, that's not a liberating relationship because one, they're tied to financial compensation for a lot of people due to businesses. And two, if you say the wrong thing, you can lose it all. So it's very much like an abusive relationship dynamic. Ooh. So that add to that the pressure of providing more, and also that provision is being challenged by authentic self-expression. So I'm in this sort of competing experience that has been and was very stressful. But I will say that first, watching and witnessing my wife give birth was one of the most beautiful things that I've ever experienced. I think on one level, it really mammalianizes you. Like you realize you're really, truly a mammal, and you're no different than a couple wildebeest giving birth on the African veldt, you know? And we did it at home, and it was amazing. And watching a life come through my wife that she grew. I mean, I said to Kylie after, do you think you can do anything now? And she was like, oh yeah. And I was like, yeah, like I started to see, because I'm sure you experienced this too. When we started to learn about birth, we did it with this group in Vegas, who were former labor and delivery nurses who are midwives. And they teach this class on the history of birth. And I was like, now, for anyone listening, to give you context, I was also in pharmaceutical sales and in pharma for 14 years. So I had left that. And here I am, like I've explored all the bullshit about cholesterol, all the bullshit. I mean, I didn't just wake up to lies. I was part of the lies. I've spread the lies, not knowingly, unconscious incompetence. I like that term. But when we were in the birth training, I was like, holy shit. So much of birth is just commoditized. It's just like a dude decided, hey, we can make a lot of money if we just create some value-based needs that aren't actually needed almost all the time. And this is not negating the value of emergency interventions. I think what happens in this world we're in today is that the criticism of something means the rejection of it. No, it does not. This isn't invalidating people's experiences. I'm just saying that for the most part, we're telling women and their bodies and parents that they are incompetent in the birth process. The body has no idea what it's doing. We need some guy to come in, or a woman, and remove the baby. I couldn't believe the C-section rate in Vegas or in Nevada, but across the states is somewhere in the 30%. In the UK, where midwives are in charge of birth, the C-section rate is something like 1.7%. And I was like, wow, if that isn't evidence of a monetizable intervention. So for me, all of that, again, was more of a wake up, but also a deepening reverence for her, and just reverence for the feminine, like what it creates, what the womb creates. Like I look at Jasper, and so coming back to the original comment, and I'm like, okay, well, I could tell him what I stand for. I could tell him what I believe is important. I could tell him what our innate values are as a family, for me as a man. But if I'm not living that 100%, he'll smell that bullshit. Not only will he smell it, he'll repeat it. And that to me is I get emotional thinking about it, because that's like a level of responsibility that I'm like, no. Like he will not know that. He will see a father who stands for what's right. And, looking back now, I'm like, I was ready to lose it all. And I know you were too. And for me, I think that's just, it's like no matter how we get to the place, liberation, which I think the magnifying glass is most available through our relationship patterns. But wherever you can't share your voice, you're not liberated. If you don't have a choice in your relationship to your phone, you're not liberated. If you don't have a choice and again, this isn't negating the very systems that sometimes make it so you can't share. You know, I remember listening to this guy in Canada, his name's Corey George. And he said, you can complain all you want about the financial system. You can complain all you want about money. You can moralize money. You can do whatever you want, but you can't change it from the bottom. You can't change it. You can't change it by denying the system. You have to use the system to change it. And I think about that in the context of everything. It's like, men are here to protect on one level. Are we actually protecting and preserving our women and our children? I mean, I think there's there's probably a whole other complex another podcast on this, but on the idea that like, look at the levels of testosterone in a 20-year-old male today or something similar to a 60-year-old male in the year 2000. Look at the sperm count that's dropping that the Dr. Swan says by the year 2045, a lot of men will be infertile. It's like, what are we doing? You know, and I think coming back to what we're saying, like liberation through relationship, but also if you have a generation below you, it's never too late to take your bags back. It's never too late to give your bags back to your parents, give their bags back to them. It's none of this is like a finite, we are the destiny of our biography. It's like, no, like this is your lineage trusted you to change. Your lineage found a partner that is bringing up the stuff with you so that both of you could actually heal. Like to me, I'm like, what a gift that is that my parents went through what they went through. So I have the resourcing today to choose a really incredible partner who chooses me and actually do this sacred work, not just for ourselves, which is important, but actually for our son, for the children, for all the children. You know, I think about that all the time. It's like, I could just have an interaction with a human who's never had a regulated person acknowledge them, and that could completely change their life. And not to change their life, but just to make our way through the world from that unconditional space. I mean, that's a whole other, that's a long
man,
answer.
when you were talking about that Jasper can smell the bullshit, that's actually part of what Kylie was sharing that exists in both men and women, and that is our intuitive faculty. You know, Zach Bush calls it like the afferent and efferent neurons that our systems are trading, right? I look at you, Stephen Porges says the micro muscles in our face from the polyvagal theory. We're all looking for safety. And so, man, when you said that, I had the cry feeling because I think about all the ways in my life that I'm still continuing to work on being liberated personally.
Same. I think it's an ongoing journey.
It's an ongoing journey. And there's so much more. And I just want to presence to everyone. If you're feeling like you're stuck in a piece of liberation, this book and the relationship to self and other, especially an intimate container, and or the relationship to a daughter or a son, there is no greater fucking proving ground on planet Earth than intimate relationship and parenthood. It will bring up all your stuff. I mean, is literally, I think, the only thing in my life, there's no way I could have learned the things that I've learned about Josh unless I've been a father or unless I've been in sacred union. There is no ticket otherwise. Like, you got to buy the ticket and take the ride for that, y'all. Make sure you subscribe to the podcast. Click the link if you want to watch the full episode, and I will see you in the next video.